This is TWiT.
What's so exciting is that I got invited here in New York City this past Monday. We talked about it last week to a kind of a hands-on event from Essential, where they hosted a lovely rooftop party in New York City, and got to not only check out the Essential, but they had several different little kind of setups showing kind of the pieces of the Essential, kind of like some design concepts leading to the a phone broken into its various components. Got to talk to some of the staff that were there. Some Essential employees were there. It was all in all a good event. I saw Marquez Brownlee there, which is great.
Nice.
Yeah, so we chatted a little bit, but yeah, no. So there's a picture of me holding the Essential phone. So it exists.
Go ahead and hit play on that, Victor. There's a little play icon up there. Yeah, there you go.
So that is the Essential phone with its with the 4K 360 modular camera attached to it. So got to play with it. Couple immediate thoughts. One, it's a dense phone. It's heavy.
Oh, really?
It's like if you feel it, like it feels like a brick, in a good way too. Like I don't know if it's the ceramic or the battery, or whatever it might be, but it's got some heft to it. Right, so that was the other one. In there, you just saw me kind of pull up the app drawer. This phone comes with no other apps other than ASOP, like standard Android, except there's only one add-on app, which is the camera app, which controls the 4K 360 camera.
Okay.
So they're like literally when I pulled up the screen there and you saw like maybe 3 rows of apps, that's all that came on the phone. It's empty. Right, which I don't think I've ever seen a phone as empty as it did out of the box. Right.
Wow.
Yeah, you see me taking off the camera there and snapping it back on. The 360 camera has kind of similar to the pogo pin kind of thing of the Moto Z2, but only two little pins. And it connects wirelessly and sends the data through that, which I thought was really interesting. One of the guys was telling me about how that works. And then also the camera, I guess, is so. I don't know what it is, but there's a little fan inside the camera. So when you connect it, it kind of whirs up and you hear it kind of whir, which is kind of neat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is neat. So yeah. Other thing I noticed is that the fingerprint sensor on the back feels very natural, like the Google Pixel. If you look as I'm flipping it around and looking at it, there is no branding or logo on this phone whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to somebody at Essential about that, and they said, you paid enough money for this phone, you don't need to advertise it for us. So I was like, oh, okay. That was really interesting.
Well, and
that was nice.
And it's a very eye-catching design. I think it's the kind of design that if you have it, people are they're probably going to notice. They're probably going to ask you about it, and then you become the evangelist for it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It didn't require, like the Asus Zenfone AR has this. I mean, I feel like the very ugly Asus logo on the front, just all shiny and big up at the very top, and you can't help but see it. And like
any brand logo on the front of your phone is ugly.
Yeah. I can't
There's
deal.
No exception to that rule.
I would completely agree. So, it doesn't need to be there. People will ask you about it if they're interested, and you'll be the evangelist for it.
Yeah, but what's interesting is that without the logo and with it being a black slab, yes, they might notice it, but it does look very anonymous. It does look very odd in that case. It's cool, but it's like if I was going to get this phone, I would not want the black. Let's just say that. I think that it's super, super shiny and super it's just a slab kind of thing, Yeah. Wow. But
how did it feel size-wise?
It felt good. It felt like a good size. Like I'm trying to compare it. It felt bigger than a Pixel. But felt maybe smaller than the Moto Z2 Force that I'm currently using. So it was somewhere in between those two.
If someone is of the mind that, say, a Pixel XL or a 6 Plus is too big, what would you say to them about this phone?
I would say it's more in the right direction then. I don't know if I can't say if it's the right. I don't want to definitively say though then that's the right size, but I could hold it. Here there's a picture of me holding it clearly in my hand. I didn't get I think the Pixel XL is too big, and I have pretty big hands, and I did not get that feeling from this phone.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
Yeah.
Did you see the color that you wanted to see, Ron? Did you see the emerald color that you wanted to see?
No, if you go look at Victor, if you pull up the video of the marketing display, you can see there's some elements of the ocean depths case. There was here you see some of the concepts on the cameras that they worked through. And then they had a design kind of sketchbook, and they had a laptop running through different designs and things like that. And then they had basically the materials, the build materials. And you could see there all the way on the right of this video in the different kind of frames and stuff. There's an ocean blue back. There it is.
That's
and
nice
there's also
looking.
to the left of it is the copper frame that would work with it. And so I asked the gentleman who was an essential employee who was manning the station, when is Ocean Depths, the green color that I want, going to go on sale? And he smiled and said, very soon, in the future.
Thanks.
And I wouldn't get a non-marketing speak answer out of him otherwise. But what he did say was that if you see it go for sale on the Essential website, buy it, because there's a very good chance it won't be there when you go back.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I read that to believe that it's going to be a very small production run. And it was interesting. I got a little backstory from that. It was that he said that they wanted to have different colors because, like us, they're bored of black and white phones and all that sort of stuff. And they did user focus group testing, and unanimously the two colors that were reported by the users of what colors they like their phones to be were black and white. So while like I'm of the category that I would rather have the blue Pixel or the green, the green Essential or the mint Nextbit Robin, apparently the users spoke and they just want black and white. So I think they focus on that.
iPhone users, of course.
Yeah.
All they've ever picked from was black and white for so long, and then some golds came in, but like, man.
Yeah. But I don't know. I did hear a long-winded story about the paint that they used to paint the phones, and how they had a paint that was used that actually blocked the signal between the 360 camera and the phone. And so they had to change the type of paint, which is really interesting stuff. Now, caveat, I did not get to. I took a couple of pictures and I saw how it looked and stuff like that. They were pushing the 4K modular camera way more than the camera on the phone. Right. And I know in a lot of the reviews of the Essential phone we've been reading is that the failing is the camera, as we often hear. Right. I took a couple pictures. I looked in the gallery, but I didn't have enough time to play with it to tell you definitively that the camera is a problem on this phone. Especially with me coming from a Nextbit Robin where the camera is not that great. Anything looks good to me. So I would defer to our friends at other websites that have spent more time with the camera. But it looked fine. I mean, I took a picture on the roof of New York City. It looked great. But I didn't get to go to a club or go to a show and see low light, kind of taking pictures of a band or anything like that. But so I can't definitively tell you the camera is not a problem. What isn't a problem is the notch. As you see me playing with it, you notice it at first, and then you just never notice it again.
Yeah.
And I kept on pulling up the draw as it would go behind the notch. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, it was neat. So so I didn't have a problem with the notch at all. I love how empty the phone is of apps. Like, look at that. There's nothing. There's 4 rows of apps. There's nothing on it. And 128 gig is a ton of space to have on a phone. So all in all, I would say I was impressed by it. All in all, I was I liked what I felt. I liked what I played with. I liked how it is. That said, at $699 and questions about the camera, I just don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger or not. I'm still waiting for Ocean Depths. We'll see how I feel the day Ocean Depths go online, go for sale.
Well, now you know what's going to happen, though, right? Like, Ocean Depths goes on sale, and if you actually do see it up there and knowing what they told you, man, you're going to be so much more inclined to pull the trigger, because it's like that scarcity. Yeah. That scarcity information is enough to tip you over the edge.
Yeah. That's probably, you're probably right in that. But that said, this felt like a flagship phone. This is one of the first phones I've ever used or played with that felt like it was as expensive as it should be. Like, it just felt different. It felt like in another class.
Nice.
So so there it is.
Now, Chris, before the show, you were saying you were looking forward to talking about the Essential phone. I assume that means that you're. Are you interested in this phone for yourself, or what are your thoughts on what you've seen about the Essential phone?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, it's with Amazon. It's I don't think it's available to anyone outside the States, but I think, look, at a high level, do you want to see a brand new hardware device that Andy Rubin has built from scratch? That's a pretty compelling proposition. So yeah, look, I'm certainly really interested in it. And for the longest time, I have wanted a phone without bezels. Bezels have always irked me. I think this trend to get rid of them is terrific. I'm really curious to hold it to get a sense of how it feels in the hand size wise, because I am a person who I just can't use larger phones. Like I've been developing on my Nexus 6P lately, and it's just too big for me. Mm-hmm. The pixel is the smaller pixel is a far better size. So I'm really interested to see if if this promise of a larger screen in a form factor is the right fit for me.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see it.
And the thing about it is that I was very impressed. That's where I walked away from it. I was very, very impressed. And I wish that they had sample ones for us to take home, because I want to spend time with the camera and get the feeling of, getting to see if it truly is. And the thing is that the camera it's not. The camera on the phone is that they're using the black and white lens and the color lens, right? That technology. And from what I read online from other people's reviews is that after the first software update, it got significantly better. So I think that's a hopeful direction, that any kind of kinks they're working out with the camera can be solved with in software. So it definitely felt, like I said, it felt like a $700 phone. It really felt nice. So
very nice.
And I'll also just add quickly on the price. Like I'm excited by the idea of a more expensive phone. I think I can definitely understand why there would be a segment of people that would look at it and go, no, I don't want to pay that much, and that's entirely fine and reasonable. But I think for the longest time I've sort of had the question, well, if a phone did cost more, what would it look like? What would you get for that extra money? So I think it's really exciting that that question is being explored.
Yeah,